Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Saturday, March 29th, middle of the Celtics road trip. They got the Spurs last night as you guys are hearing this, so we'll talk about that. Some other stuff going on. We're wrapping up regular season here. How you doing, Sam?
Doing good. Excited for the show today. Should be a fun-ish game in San Antonio. Still a lot to look for with the young guys on the Celtics, so I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about with that. Make sure you leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of the game. Go around the NBA too. We'll have plenty of fun stuff throughout the show. You can subscribe and hit the bell because we're here every day. New pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game. We'll have other videos on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. We're also doing pregame streams half hour before tip-off. Come hang out. It's a ton of fun. Chatting with the chat, doing prize picks, playing GeoGuessr. Don't want to miss any of it.
Indeed. Let's jump over to Celtics Spurs right now. All right, we are here after the Celtics 121-111 win over the San Antonio Spurs. Celtics went up early. Spurs made their run in the fourth quarter, led by Chris Paul, but Celtics led for most of this game. A pretty comfortable win. First time back since the Tatum injury. He looked good. 29, 10, and 8. Luke Kornet had a great game off the bench. Jrue Holiday played well. Good all-around performance from the C's. Keldon Johnson was unconscious for a little bit. Stephon Castle looked pretty good with a 3-ball. And Celtics got a win regardless. Turned into a relatively fun game at the end when Chris Paul was going a little berserk, but relatively straightforward, one for the C's.
Chris Paul going nuts at the end of the game was like, wait a minute, what is going on right now? Game was probably a little bit closer than I think we all anticipated it being today. But nonetheless, like there were some really positive things on the Celtics side of it. I mean, you mentioned Tatum coming back and really looking like he didn't miss a beat from the last time he played. This is the standard Tatum game now, I guess. Just 30, 10, and close to 10 assists. That's what you're going to get from him. Very well-rounded stuff from him. Threes weren't really there. Can't get too upset at that. Jump shot being off after missing a game isn't the most surprising thing ever. I'm surprised he was so efficient in this game. Happy to see him back out there. Happy he looks healthy because there was like an inkling of like being concerned. Like maybe he's rushing back. Wouldn't make sense, but you never know. Like they're people that are built to be in the NBA have a motor. And if he's able to play in the slightest, he probably wanted to play. Really good Tatum game. We can go through the rest of them. Happy to see him back, though. That's the big thing.
Yeah, Tatum looked good. It looked like he erased many concerns about is he healthy, is he not. Like I don't know about you. I didn't even really see any, instances where it looked like he was hurt. He just looked completely normal again, which is a good sign. But this is not an exaggeration when I say this. Luke Kornet was the best player on the floor the whole night. I'm not being like, what's the word? I'm not exaggerating. I'm not, trying to clickbait. Genuinely, I think he was the most impactful player on the floor for either team in this game. He has a team high plus 21, 7 better than anybody else on the floor. He had 15 points, which was third on the team behind Tatum and Holiday. He had 16 rebounds, which is a career high for him. He had 7 offensive rebounds. He had 4 assists, a steal as well, 7 of 10 from the field. He was dominant. He was better than Kristaps in this game as the Celtics big man option to the point where they Kristaps ran into some foul trouble, but he played 6 more minutes than him. He closed this game over Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown might be a little bit hurt, but also like that was the best lineup because Jaylen didn't play very well. We can talk about that later too, but Luke Kornet was genuinely incredible in this game. He was killing the Spurs on the glass, and makes a little sense. The Spurs without their big man, they're running Jeremy Sohan at the center, but it really didn't matter who they put out there. Luke Kornet was just beating them to the ball. He is incredible at finding, space on the offensive end, whether it's running the pick and roll and running to space or just watching Tatum run a pick and roll with Derek White, occupying space and being ready for a lob for a dunk. Like he is one of the best players at positioning himself on the floor that I've seen. Like in general, it's like a running bit at this point. It feels like, but it's not anymore. Like he's just genuinely fucking really good at basketball. Like he's been so unbelievable. I wrote an article today about how he was helping Jaylen Brown show off his playmaking in the last 2 games against the Kings and the Suns. Tatum comes back in this one. He's right back into the action, right back, playing great ball with everyone else. He's awesome. Like he impacts winning more than 90% of bench players around the league right now. It feels like.
I feel like Luke Kornet has evolved into Robert Williams without the mobility. Like, I don't think you can stick Luke Kornet on a defensive assignment where he's meant to be the roamer, but he gives you vertical spacing on offense like Rob did. It's very similar where he's on the roll. You can toss it up to him. He's either going to dunk it or come down and lay it in. He is incredible around the rim. 7 of 10 from the field in this game. Very on par with what he's done all season long. And then his drive on the offensive glass, he's always a factor there. He's just such a big body. 7 offense. He almost split his rebounds down the middle in this game. His career high, 16 rebounds. Really, really happy with what we've seen from Luke this season. 4 assists from him is nothing to sneeze at either. He's been somebody who's been really sharp when he has the basketball. Very good decision making from him. And I'm excited to see what the Celtics get from him in the playoffs this year, because last year, if you remember, there was a stretch there where he was not playing, and also I think he was a little hurt, right?
He was hurt. He missed some time, yeah.
So just to see what he adds, like along with Kristaps, the Celtics essentially have gotten deeper ahead of the playoffs from within. Very good.
Mhm.
Very, very, like if you're a Celtics fan, you should be fucking pumped.
Listen, at his best, Robert Williams probably should have won that Defensive Player of the Year. Like if he's healthy that whole year, he probably would have been Defensive Player of the Year. Luke Kornet is better on the offensive end than Robert Williams ever has been. And it's not really close. Like in terms of screening,
scoring, yes,
it's way more than scoring, and it is offensive rebounding. And Rob was good at that, but like Kornet is better at it. It is screening, which Rob wasn't bad at screening. Luke Kornet is the best screener on the Celtics, point blank. Period. Right? It is, keeping himself around the rim at the right time. It is like all these things. Like Luke Kornet is just always in the right place, and the defense was a different level because Robert Williams was like a game changer on the defensive end. And Luke Kornet's good, but he's not like quite as emphatic and game altering as Rob was. But the offensive end, man, he makes Tatum, Brown, Derek White, Jrue Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis better just by being on the floor. Like he gives them an easy lob. He gets them wide open with screens. He knows where they like the screens. He knows how they want them set. He knows where to set the screen in order to get them the right mismatch. I was talking to him and he was telling me like, yeah, I know JB wants, to get onto smaller guards. So I set the screen higher up on their body so they're stuck behind. Like he knows everything where to be. And this is part of the reason why when we talk about, why doesn't Luke Kornet shoot threes anymore? Part of it is like, because he is so good at focusing on everything else he can provide. And so it is just, it's gotten to a point where he is invaluable to this team. And the joke I made where it is, trade Kristaps or extend Luke, if like, hey man, I'm not saying they need to do it, but like it is getting to the point where like you need to re-sign Luke Kornet so he can be your big man for the next 3-4 years. Like that is becoming more of a priority by the day.
So just to pile onto that point, we've reached an area where losing Kornet would feel very similar to what happened with Hartenstein in New York last year, where you can feel how much they miss him, despite the upgrades this year, despite the top of the roster becoming better. They miss that extra big body that's just reliable to do all the dirty work. We got a really fun Kornet post-game interview today. Shout out to Bobby Kravitsky tweeting out the quote with the clip. Luke says to Abby on his career night on the glass, start caring less about yourself physically and just launch yourself into the trenches. I feel like I'm a left guard basically in basketball, so I take pride in that. The man is just the ultimate lunchbox guy, doesn't really care about getting the credit. He's just been somebody this year who's exceeded expectations by far. I don't think anybody expected him to be this important to the depth of the Celtics. He was essentially meant to be in a battle with Tillman to be the backup, the third string big guy, because Porzingis and Horford were going to be back. And he still technically is the third string big guy, but not really.
I don't want to get too silly with what I have to say, so I'll keep my thoughts under wraps for now. But I'll say this: if the Celtics want to be the best version of themselves on the offensive end, Luke Kornet needs to be on the floor, and I'll leave it there. Rest of the team, Do you want to start positive or negative, Sam? Or do you want to go first?
Let's do the negatives. We just had a circle jerk for Luke for
Okay.
5 minutes.
Perfect. Jaylen Brown is really bad. And it's to the point where he's pretty clearly not healthy. He hurt his knee or went down early in this game and stayed down for a minute and got back up. I don't know how much that's affecting like individual parts of his game, but he is just objectively not playing like himself lately. That Suns game was a nice little reprieve from the struggles because he looked pretty good in that one. The handle is completely gone in this game. He couldn't keep a hold of the ball. Some of the shots just weren't looking like they were there. He only took 9 shots. He only played under 30 minutes. It looks like maybe he's on a little bit of a minutes restriction or something. He doesn't look right. He said after the Suns game, I don't know, put it out that like he's going to play through it and he's not feeling 100%. He's not feeling great. I don't know what's going to come of it now. He looked really, really, really rough in this game. And I don't know what the solution is because it's easy for us to sit here and say, just sit a bunch of games and sure, maybe that helps. But at the same time, like, what if it doesn't? Like, what if that's not what is going to help? What if the best way for him to help it is to play through it and keep getting used to it? If this is something that he is going to deal with into the playoffs, right? Like, let's say this is like a chronic knee issue that sitting out for a week isn't going to fix. Is it better to try that, or is it better to play and try to get used to the pain and find the best ways to be effective, right? I'm not saying that's what I believe. Like, shit, man, sit a few games, test it, like get a rest. But I also think it's not just always that simple. And he doesn't look right.
I think he needs to sit out, man. Like if you're, I mean,
try it.
Just like, I don't think if this is a playoff series, Jaylen Brown should sit. But when you have games against like Memphis is a real team. But besides that, there aren't very many real teams left on the schedule. Sit out. It doesn't matter if you play against the Miami Heat on April 2nd. It doesn't matter if you play against the Suns on Friday. It doesn't matter if you play against the Knicks. Who cares? Just sit out, get your body as right as it possibly can be, and be as ready as you can be for the playoffs. There's no need to be out there. Listen, he was out there and wasn't wildly inefficient while being out there. Like maybe the initiative right now is to get him to be used to taking on a smaller role, because I mean, he only took 9 shots in this game. That is the biggest standout thing when looking at his stat line. Before the fourth quarter, though, he really was struggling. Fourth quarter, we had like a little flash where he made some tough shots, got to the cup a couple times, like looked more like himself during the non-Tatum window there. That's fine. But you have to try and get healthy. And if you're not healthy, just don't play. Don't play against the Spurs at the end of March. You don't need to.
Listen, I get that. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say he shouldn't sit out because maybe he should, but I also don't think it's easy for us to sit here behind screens and behind Twitter fingers and say, just sit, it'll fix all your problems. Well, it might fucking not. It might not fix your problems. And what if that little, he sat out for 4 games. When was it? He sat out recently, right? And he came back a few games ago and started playing again. I'm going to find the exact dates just so I'm not talking out of my ass completely. He sat out for 3 games, right? From March 18th to March 23rd. What if that was him testing to say, okay, let me get some rest. I'm going to sit for a little bit, sit for a week and see if it gets any better. What if it didn't get better? What if it got worse? What if it got worse by not, activating it more and just letting it sit made it worse, right? And I'm not saying that is what's happening. I'm just saying it is not impossible that resting is not going to help. Do I think he should rest? Yes. Tatum should rest too. These last X amount of games don't matter that much, right? For those back-to-back Hornets games at the end of the season, sit them. Sit them both. Sit them for 3-4 games at the end of the season. Sure, fine, 100%. Another part of it is he trying to, push himself so he can get the All-NBA nod. Probably. He probably wants to get the All-NBA nod, which isn't ideal, but who am I to sit here and say, no, don't do that, right? If he wants the recognition, sure, fuck it, man. I don't know. If it was to the point where he was seriously going to worsen the injury by not sitting, I don't think the Celtics medical staff would be letting him play. It's just something we're going to have to continue to monitor because right now it doesn't look great. And we'll just, I guess, have to go from there kind of because unfortunately we don't know all the details. There's probably a lot of factors that are going into it. And then, yeah, we'll just see what happens, right? We're just going to have to keep an eye on it as the playoffs get closer. But Before we go to the next thing, I need to tell you about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action this basketball season. If you're like me and Sam, you use PrizePicks. Hopefully you're not like me and Sam because we're not very good at it. I don't even need to check the PrizePicks. I don't think we did good. So I'm not even going to bother because Derek White didn't get a steal. And so my roommate is on thin ice, buddy. Regardless, the best place to get real money sports action this basketball season. Over 10 million members, billions of dollars in award winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Springtime is finally here. We've been talking about baseball constantly. It's back. Strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs, take your pick of more or less. There's plenty of ways to get action right there. You can mix and match player projections from different sports too. So if you want to take a Christian Campbell home run and a Derek White block, you could do that in the same PrizePicks lineup. So make sure to check that out. Available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and right here in Massachusetts. Sam and I not very good at it, but that doesn't mean you have to be. You can be good at it. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Back to this game. Jaylen didn't look great. It's all right. We'll keep monitoring it. There's nothing we can really do except continue to monitor it. Jrue Holiday, on the other hand, dealing with mallet finger, looked fucking awesome. Shout out Jrue Holiday. He's finally, looking like himself again. It feels like down the stretch of the season. 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 8 of 12 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3, and a bunch of stuff outside of the 3-point line too. He was like, he broke the zone one play late in the game that looked nice. He was playing solid defense. Like, this is the version of Jrue Holiday the Celtics want going into the playoffs, and it feels like they're starting to get it again. Although they got the Grizzlies coming up, so we'll see if he can keep it up against the team that was his kryptonite earlier in the year.
Yeah, that is actually something really interesting to watch for that game. But you said it. It was more than the threes today. Like, there were a couple times he got to the basket. Just looks more comfortable out there. I don't know what it was earlier in the season. Probably the shoulder bugging him that really held him back. We've seen flashes of what we saw today leading up to it. I'm glad we saw a nice outburst from him. Good, well-rounded game as well with 6 rebounds, 6 assists for Jrue. And his confidence in this game, I feel like Jrue's confidence actually never wavers because he does take the no, yes shot every once in a while, or no shot. But you said it, when the playoffs come around, you're really going to need him to be at his top level. Last year, he was such a big part of what they did. Games like this were sort of part of that. He just kind of did the filler stuff and got his buckets where they were given to him. So actually, the Memphis game on Monday should be something very interesting to watch, because if they give him the buckets again, whether he's going to be able to actually take advantage of that. Hopefully he does. I actually didn't think Porzingis was great today. Porzingis had a weird game where he seemed like he was letting the refs get in his head, missed a lot of shots for him, was in foul trouble like you mentioned earlier, turned it over 3 times. Just seemed kind of out of sorts in a game where you expected him to be more forceful, considering they didn't have a center playing, even though Sohan's borderline. It's not like they were the Wizards that time last year when they played with Kuzma at center.
Yeah, it was an odd KP game. He didn't shoot very well. He wasn't very effective. Luke Kornet, like I said, Luke Kornet was the best center in this game. He was their best option at the 5. I do think the double big lineups looked all right. Just wasn't his night, I guess. The shots weren't really falling. He wasn't really as effective as you want him to be. And it is what it is, right? Like, it's not anything to be too upset about. It happens. Games happen. But he wasn't great. The whole team was letting the refs get in their head. It felt like in this one. The whole Celtics team was just
signature move.
Small. I don't think it happens that often as much anymore. It used to a lot, but yeah, man, the refs were, I'm not gonna sit here and say they were picture perfect. There were some questionable calls for both sides in this game, but yeah, they let it get to him a little bit. There was one play where Jaylen didn't get back after he thought he got fouled, and Joe was not happy. He called an instant timeout after Stephon Castle got an easy bucket in transition. But there was another play where I think Tatum didn't close out. Joe had a few anger timeouts in this game.
Yeah, he did.
I liked it. Get him fired up. Fuck yeah, Joe.
It's not just game 74 to some people. It actually matters.
They all matter.
Just to round the rest of them up, Derek, fine. Didn't have the most efficient shooting day, but did the other stuff. Hit the glass hard. Well done, Derek. Hauser, he didn't have an efficient night, but it felt like he did. I felt like all the threes he made were big ones, especially like
took good ones. Yes.
San Antonio was like kind of creeping back, and he would hit a three every time to kind of distance the Celtics again, which was really important to this game because the Spurs were playing with an energy where they kind of believed in themselves in a game that was probably meaningless on their end, other than if they lose, they have more chances of getting Cooper flagged. But their postseason hopes are dead. Wemby's not coming back. They're further from the play-in. Well, they're as far as Portland is, which is not close. So their route there would be very hard. And then we got a Shireman showing today. Solid. Once again.
Shireman keeps putting together these solid little games where he's not doing too much, but when he gets in, you're like, oh shit, okay. That's something. He hit another no-dip three, made a couple nice plays. Defense looks solid. He's good, man. He's just a quality role player. I don't think he'll play in the playoffs. I don't think we'll see much of it past the regular season, but it's a very, very good sign heading into next year as the roster questions continue to loom large for Boston.
Yes. Their confidence in him. We did the video on the Jake Fisher piece yesterday, and that was part of the report was his development has really made the front office more comfortable with whatever they're going to have to do. Have to hit on the draft picks. Absolutely have to.
Indeed. You do need to hit on the draft picks. Past that, I don't know how much else there is in this game. The Spurs looked pretty good, actually, for considering how many guys they were missing. Chris Paul turned it up. Stephon Castle looks like the real deal. He'll be pretty good. Keldon Johnson playing out of his mind. Wasn't on my bingo card, but good for him. Yeah, I think that just about covers it. It is interesting, and this is very random. We don't have to spend too much time on it. Like, Baylor Shireman has just completely usurped Jordan Walsh in the rotation.
Yeah.
Like, Jordan Walsh isn't even getting a look anymore, which sucks a little for Jordan Walsh, but I mean, shit, man, Baylor's just a more complete player right now.
Well, Walsh was always like a development project, and he still is. Like, probably needs to get a little bit bigger, needs to become a little bit more crisp on the offensive end to really, really be worth playing. I think they both have an avenue to being part of the rotation down the line here, depending on what the front office does going forward, too. Like, you may need Walsh's body. It's just a question of whether or not the moves happen, whether or not he develops. Shireman had this, like, mid-season bump where he had a bunch of points against Philly, and all of a sudden he's just comfortable playing basketball.
Shout out. Good for him, man. Love to see it. Anyways, I think that's just about it. Anything we missed that you think we should go over? Or that good?
No, I think we're good. We'll be back tomorrow with a new video, and then pregame later in the day. Grizzlies. Back to the rest of the pod.
All right. Let's check in with your guys' emails. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hptcpod@gmail.com. That's hptcpod@gmail.com. We got a few today, starting off with RJ. RJ says, 2 rule changes. Evening, folks. Fun game outcome in Sacramento tonight. Health-wise, we'll know when we know. I do have 2 thoughts about flagrant fouls. I know, big surprise, right? The first is if the NBA wants to put some bite into them, add them into the technical foul count when calculating automatic suspensions. A flagrant 1 counts for 1. A flagrant 2 counts for 2. Rack up enough, and you get an unscheduled day off. The other idea is that for fouls that result in injuries, the player that commits the foul is removed from the game and is unable to play until the injured player checks back in. Maybe that's 5 minutes, maybe that's 5 games. No fines, just got to sit. Now more than ever, be well, RJ. This second idea, I don't think could ever work because Sabonis didn't intentionally injure Tatum, so you're going to force the Kings to play without Sabonis if Tatum sits out for 5 games. I don't think that's doable. And then the first one, sure. I also think there's a point to it to where intentionality is a big part of technicals. So if you get X amount of technicals, that's it. Like, I think these 2 rules just ignore the idea of intentionality a bit too much for me to get on board.
I don't think we talk enough about an eye for an eye rule in the NBA. Can you imagine? Like, if you injure somebody, you just get the hook for the day. You just get ejected. That'd be crazy. You just have, like, you think flopping is bad now? You would have, like, the Celtics would trot Xavier Tillman out there to take a bump from Donovan Mitchell in a playoff series to get him tossed from a game. Now, I know, like, that's not what RJ is suggesting. Like, he doesn't want it to be, like, touchy-feely, like, it should be that easy. But if that was the case, you would see so much exploitation. It's the NBA. That's all these guys do is exploit.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's too much wrong with the Sabonis thing. It was just a little bit reckless, and he got the flagrant for it, and that is what it was. Isaac says Luke Kornet has been going off these last couple of games and always finds a way to get open at the right time. I was wondering if the Celtics have someone to replace Luke if he walks in free agency, and if he does, what team should show the most interest? I think the next best thing for the Celtics in terms of bigs is draft. I think draft a good big at the end of this round. There's some decent bigs that could be available around pick 30. Danny Wolf, if he falls from Michigan, Alex Condon's look good out of Florida. Janai Broom, who's been like the best college basketball player in the world, is projected to be a late first rounder because of how old he is, but that shouldn't matter for the Celtics. That said, I do think there's a world where they shell out the money to re-sign Luke Kornet. It's just a matter of how much he's willing to take to stay and how much they're willing to pay based on where they fall in the luxury tax stuff.
Feels like this offseason is just going to have a lot of like all of us being like, well, why wouldn't that guy just take the minimum to play for the Celtics? Like, who wouldn't? Like, that's going to be a lot of our discussion when the season ends and we're talking about Luke and Al Horford. I think the draft, like Jack says, is just the best way for Boston to try and load up on talent without having to spend a ton of money. And I mean, the draft can be a crapshoot. You have to hit your spots if you're Brad. And you just take a look at like the difference between Shireman and, not to say he's a finished product, but Jordan Walsh, like you see the excitement that Shireman's generating within the organization. Like Joe's playing him. Joe does not play anybody unless he truly believes in them. So that is what an impactful draft pick can do for you.
Indeed. Thank you, Isaac. Next email we've got from Philip, says defensive philosophies. Fellas, it seems that a part of Joe's defensive philosophy is that the players defend without fouling. On the other hand, Mark Dagnall's philosophy with his OKC players is more about pushing the limits of foul tolerance every play. Given OKC's defensive success this year, do you think their philosophy might be the better of the two? I'm interested to see what you guys say about this. I'm not sure where I stand. Best, Phil. I think there's a place for both. I think OKC plays a far more risky defense than the Celtics, in my opinion. Ironic because a part of the Celtics defense is leaving open shooters sometimes when they're not great shooters. But if the Thunder aren't perfectly on the string, which they have been for most of the year, which is why it's worked, they're going to give up a million open shots, which is tough. And they gave up a lot of open shots against the Celtics, and the Celtics didn't make a lot of them, which is part of why they work. And they get closeouts, and they help from the corner a lot because the corner three is the best three on the court, but it's also the easiest distance to close out from. Like they can get out there the fastest because it's the shortest distance. So I think both are good. I think the Thunder have generated a reputation for themselves where they are so physical that the refs just aren't going to call anything. I think that has taken a couple years, 2 years for them to fully put in place. So if the Celtics did switch, it would take them a long time for them to get that reputation as well. And I don't think it's worth the risk in Joe Mazzulla's eyes because then you're starting to give up free throws and that's tougher to come back. And I don't know. I think there's a place for both. I think is where I fall. And if it works for you, it works for you. And the Thunder have built something that works for them.
That's the key. We've seen the Celtics. I mean, you can just look at their offense. If it works for you, it works for you. Like that is the best example. Take a look at teams around the NBA that have tried to play Mazzulla ball and just not done well. Like there was a long period of time this year where Chicago struggled because they were kind of trying to do that. And now they've leaned more into being like a pacey team and like capitalizing on that. And they've started to win games. If you don't have the dogs to do it, sometimes you just can't do it. And OKC is full of defensive dogs. Like they have everybody bought in. They have that hunger that comes with being a team that hasn't won a championship yet. And they all want to achieve that goal as one. And it seems like a group of guys that really gets along. I mean, a lot of these guys were drafted by OKC. They've come up together. They've grown as players together. And I think that is something we don't talk about enough as a value in the NBA. But I mean, the Celtics have that too, like Tatum Brown. Obviously, Pritchard played here his whole career. Horford been here on and off for the better part of 8 years now. There's a lot of examples, but in the Celtics team too.
Yeah, I think it's just based on the personnel, and I think there's a place for both. But RJ says we're number 3. No one notices us at all. Morning, folks. That Suns beatdown was fun. Even just listening to it. Back in the 1960s, Avis Rent-A-Car enjoyed increased success behind a novel ad campaign. We're number 2. We try harder. Right now, the Celtics have decided have a decided advantage in my mind on the national landscape. They're number 3 outside of Boston and our fandom. No one is paying attention to the team. OKC and Cleveland are in the spotlight as the 2 best teams in the league. When those storylines get boring, here comes LeBron to be weird. Heck, even when the Celtics do make national headlines, it's about Billy Billions and his buyout club. Performance on the court, championship aspirations. Last year, it was a non-stop Nick Wright, Kendrick Perkins, and Skip Bayless noise. This year, crickets. Celtics are playing good team ball. People are getting their rest, and well, that's all really, which is fine by me. Be well, RJ. Yeah, I mean, I think they're in a good spot, and I think they'll be fine heading into the playoffs. And people don't like to talk about boring stuff, and since the Celtics ran back the same exact team, they are considered boring, I suppose.
The underdog Celtics are back.
What are you eating?
No one believes in them. I'm eating a clementine.
Why? What the fuck? what are we doing?
Hey man, you know the greatness of clementines. I don't need to tell you.
But you sat here for 20 minutes before we recorded. Were you just not eating that, or also eating that?
I was trying. Well, I did eat like other stuff, but I was trying to like type on the sheet. You can't peel and type at the same time. You can peel and listen at the same time. I love a clementine. We don't talk enough about the greatness of the clementine. It's a great fruit.
Talk about the fucking email. Shut the fuck up. Talk about the email.
I was gone, and then you interrupted me. No one believes in them. No one believes in the Celtics. Everybody thinks they're bums. They're underdogs now, and they can buy into that. I just think you said it, they're the same, and the national media doesn't care for the same. There's nothing to poke at. They've already done this story.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, I don't think the Celtics care about it. I don't think fans should care about it. If anything, I think it's better that no one's talking about the Celtics, because when they do talk about the Celtics, it's mostly shit, to be honest.
Yeah, mad shit.
But last email from Jack. Good name. Hello. Podcast question. Hello. Do you guys think the Celtics have become too reliable on Tatum? Besides last game, which he was out for since the All-Star break, the Celtics seem to be unbeatable when Tatum is in the game and really slow and sloppy when he's not in the game. Yes, Tatum has gotten better since the All-Star break, but do either of you guys think this could become a big problem next season? Honestly, I mean, so all day I've like spent like hanging out with my roommates. We put on a bunch of videos. They're like watching a bunch of basketball videos out there. So I sat down and watched it. Some stuff about like Jokic and the SGA Jokic MVP and some random videos on like historical stuff. And I think the Celtics have built a team better equipped to play without their superstar than any team we've seen in the last 20 years. So I don't think they're becoming too reliant on Tatum. I think Tatum's becoming a lot better. And so the gap between Tatum on and off the court is getting wider, but not because the bottom end of that spectrum is getting worse, but because the top end is getting so much better because he's getting better, right? Like, think about it. The Nuggets just won a championship 2 years ago, and their on-off numbers without Jokic are fucking horrendous. They're like historically bad, a lottery team without Jokic, and they won a title. All right, look at the Thunder this year. They're on a 70-win pace, and they are significantly better with Shea on the court. Like, that's a very normal thing for great elite teams to have with their superstars. We just haven't seen it with the Celtics because they've done such a good job of building up the back end talent and depth. And so I don't think the recent stretches where they're looking worse with Tatum off the floor is a product of the team is bad outside of Tatum. I just think it looks so much better with Tatum that it looks just naturally worse without him because the top end talent has gotten so much better. So I'm not too worried about it. I just did a video on my TikTok and socials and stuff that's like the offense can still work perfectly well without Tatum, which is they hunt mismatches and go from there. And part of that was the Suns game, but they did it in the Kings game too, and they've done it all year. So I'm not too worried about it. I think they've built a pretty good all-around roster without him, and most importantly, I think that's a pretty normal thing. Teams are a lot better with their superstars on the court. It's just the Celtics have been the exception to that.
Yeah, I think you feel it a little bit more this year. Like, the email's valid because, like, if you just think about the circumstances surrounding the quote-unquote others, Jaylen's been on and off hurt, hasn't quite looked like himself a lot this year. He's had stretches where he hasn't been good. Porzingis has been in and out, has taken time to get back to being what he's been playing like over the last like couple weeks since he came back from being sick. Jrue Holiday hasn't been the same. Even Derek White had that stretch where he was talking about like he's not really having fun. I think when you have all of those external things or internal things going on, then you can kind of feel like, oh man, like they need Tatum, because I think overall Tatum has been the most consistent guy. Like he's been very well rounded in what he does when he's out there. And that's why it feels like they might be relying on him more. But you mentioned the game the other day, they were able to do without him. I mean, that's good. You kind of needed a game like that for like Jaylen to look really good and Porzingis to cook. Like you're going to need those guys when the playoffs roll around. It's not going to, it might end up looking like it, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be as much of a cakewalk this year. Now I'm looking at the standings now. Maybe the first couple rounds might be a cakewalk, but it won't be the whole way.
Yeah, we'll see. I just think Tatum's gotten a lot better. And we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the season. But thank you for the emails. We appreciate you guys. Before we move on to the NBA, I need to tell you about Gametime. Gametime is the best place for all your ticketing needs this baseball season, the rest of this basketball season, any event you may need, comedy show, concert, sporting event alike. Gametime is the place to be. Let's check out Gametime. Let's see what they've got cooking lately. Red Sox opening day is coming up. We've looked at that. We've looked at Post Malone earlier in the year. Let's check out this. Ready? Book of Mormon is in town for a musical. Fun part about Gametime is you can see the exact deal you're getting. You see the star here, tells you it's a super deal. Other stars say amazing deal. The cheapest place as well is a Fire Emblem right here. It tells you the cheapest. You can toggle on and off for the pricing, so you know you're getting the best possible deals with fees included, and you won't get surprised with fees at the end of your checkout. Most venues as well are fully equipped with views from your seat, so you can see exactly what you'll be seeing from the tickets you are purchasing. Plenty of other features on Gametime make it great as well, including the lowest price guarantee. Or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Gametime ticket coverage, where your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. All right, let's jump over to the NBA standings, see who's got what going on right now. Eastern Conference isn't going to look much different than it has all season because, well, the top three teams aren't really moving at all. But the Cavs are still in first, Celtics in second, 4.5 game difference now instead of 5. So Cavs, who are 5-5 in their last 10, the Celtics are making a little bit of progress. Celtics in second, Knicks in third. Knicks 3 games above the Pacers and full 8 behind the Celtics now. It looks like they're just going to be locked into that 3 seed, though. Pacers, game and a half above the Pistons, who are separating themselves, but the Pistons have jumped the Bucks in the 5-6 flip, and they are game and a half above the Bucks. Hawks are pretty locked into that play in the spot. Hawks, Magic, Bulls, Heat. The Bulls are on fire, I should say. The Heat have actually won 3 in a row as well. Raptors outside looking in with the Sixers, technically not eliminated yet, but soon to be. And then Nets, Hornets, Wizards rounding out the bottom.
Pistons big win yesterday. Cadeless Pistons beat the Cavs. Pretty sick. Chicago, incredible win over the Lakers with just the absolute chaos that happened in the last minute of the game. You had turnovers, threes, half-court buzzer beater for Giddey. I kind of wish the Celtics had another game against the Bulls just so we could all get a good look at what it's going to look like with their current roster, because the only times Boston has played them has been Levine, and much different feel in Chicago right now. They've been playing really well. The play-in remains a crapshoot, though. Like, by the time the season comes to an end, any of these 4 teams could be in the 7 and 8s. It's not that much of a separation. If you're a Celtics fan, I would recommend that you pay attention to 7 and 8, because those are the only 2 seeds that Boston can play in the first round if they don't catch the Cavs. It would be really funny if they did catch the Cavs after we've spent this whole season hearing about like Cleveland being a juggernaut and like they just are winning all the games and all of those things. Like they're just this incredible team. And then somehow the Celtics still caught up. But even if they do catch up, they have to overtake them because Cleveland has a tiebreaker. So that's something to keep a watch on. I'm not sure how I feel about these 4, 5, 6, where I want it to land. What do you think, Jack? If you had to pick which team, I don't know, how would you like it to play out, I should say?
So the Celtics play the winner of 3-6, right? if
Correct.
they win the first round. I don't think it matters. I think the Knicks are the easiest matchup out of any of those 4 teams. I would rather play the Knicks in a series than the Pacers, Pistons, or Bucks. I said this on First to the Floor the other day, and I stand on it. They have the most defensive liabilities. They have the biggest offensive liability in Josh Hart. Just the Knicks are a terrible matchup, or the Celtics are a terrible matchup for the Knicks, I should say. So I think that's it. If I had to rank the other 3, I think Pistons are the easiest matchup just because they're the least experienced. Past that, it's kind of a coin flip. I think I'd rather play the Bucks than the Pacers because with no Dame, if he doesn't play in the playoffs, they don't really have much offensive creation. So
yeah,
I think that's kind of where it lands.
If Dame
but
does
play
he's out there.
Hopefully the Magic win because the Magic have no offense, and I think that'd be the easiest series. But I guess it doesn't really matter. I think the Celtics should beat any of those teams pretty handedly. So.
Yeah, it does feel like the Pistons are going to be a happy to be there team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not discounting them from being able to win a series, especially like in the position that they're in. They could beat New York. They could beat Indiana. Like, it's not impossible. But Indiana is one of those teams I think we don't really talk about enough as one of the tough teams. We do because we saw it last year in the playoffs. But like league wide, you don't hear much about them. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've been playing pretty good ball, winning games. They lost at the buzzer to LA. They would be 9-1 if that hadn't happened. They were a motherfucker in the conference finals last year. Curious to see what they do in the playoffs. Wonder if they can compete with the Cavs, etc.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like the Pistons are in the same situation the Celtics were when they made the finals in 2022. They were so excited to get there, and then they just forgot they had more time to play. So that could kind of be what happens to them in the playoffs. But Western Conference. Thunder up top, still dominating. First team to 60 wins this year. They've still only lost 12 games, which is kind of insane. Rockets in second place, game and a half above the Nuggets in third. Nuggets are 2 games ahead of the Lakers and Grizzlies. That top 3 has a bit of gaps in between them. Lakers, Grizzlies, like I said, 4-5. Clippers, 2 games behind them in 6. Clippers have passed the Warriors, who are now in 7th, but the same exact record at 42-31 as the Clippers. Timberwolves are 42-32, so they're only half a game behind those guys. Then way back is the Kings and the Mavs. Mavs half a game behind the Kings and 1 game above the Suns because the Mavs won their last game. The Suns got destroyed by the Celtics. Blazers and Spurs are pretty much out at this point. But yeah,
you can almost go down the list.
And then Pelicans, Jazz, obviously. But yeah,
Timberwolves, not Timberwolves. Fuck that one up. Kings destroyed by the Celtics. Suns destroyed by the Celtics. Blazers destroyed by the Celtics. Spurs, you know the answer. We don't. A lot of looks around the West. I'm rooting for Lakers Clippers. I'm just looking at it. Clippers been playing pretty decent ball lately. Sneaky like them. Don't know if they make like a run. They have some fun players on that team. I like Kawhi. He's still got my respect from 2019. He's just such a funny character to me. I would love to see more of him in front of a camera because he does not like to be in front of the camera. It'd be great.
We'll see. West is going to get very interesting very quickly. And speaking of the West, the Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins out of nowhere. Completely surprising move. There was some information about it provided by The Athletic. I saw it summarized in our, fan-sided Slack. It was Mike Luciano put an Athletic TLDR in Jenkins firing. Vibes kind of off. Teammates angry at each other. He was kind of screwed before the season because they fired all his assistants. The new assistants were hired by the front office to run motion offense. Ja likes Jenkins but hates the new offense. Jenkins tried to put the old offense back to appease Ja, but the front office hated it. DeMichael Cole of Commercial Appeal also put something out noting how like players were upset. Let me double check exactly what it was. Front office and Taylor Jenkins were butting heads a little bit. Sources who spoke with DeMichael Cole put out stuff like there was no fixing that relationship. Like they were just butting heads and it was what it was. And like it just was kind of a declining relationship between Zach Kleiman and Taylor Jenkins. Sorry, I'm running into just the worst possible ads you can possibly get. Multiple Grizzlies players were, quote, shocked by the decision. Sources told the Commercial Appeal. Zach blamed Taylor. Taylor blamed Zach. No one takes accountability for absolutely anything. The locker room was in a state of disarray. Their defense had sucked lately. Their offense had sucked lately. GG Jackson was upset with his role in the team. You've got Santi Aldama and Desmond Bain fighting on the bench, like we looked at. League source told the commercial appeal. You got guys checking out on Jenkins, their top 5 team in the West, about to get to the playoffs, and they're checking out. And so it just felt like things were declining. They fired all of Jenkins' assistants this past summer, but kept Jenkins. So it's kind of was like a interesting thing going on. Former Grizzly assistant said he's one of the smartest people I've been around. Everyone will tell you how smart he is, but he also works really hard. He doesn't just say, okay, I know everything. He's an easy person to work with because he wants the best for everyone. I've learned so much from him. I actually talked to this guy, Scooney Penn, for the Tillman article I wrote. He's a nice guy. And he was a part of the people that just got like scrapped when they overhauled the changes this summer. So yeah, it just sounded like there was a declining relationship. It was just shocking to see. It's 9 games before the season ends. However, their new head coach, who is now the interim head coach, his name is Tuomas Isalo. He's a Finnish head coach. Apparently everything I've seen, like I've seen a bunch of Reddit posts from Grizzlies people in the past, and everyone's saying like it's gonna suck when this guy leaves because he's so fucking good. The offense looks so good under him. Like he's definitely gonna leave soon. And now it's like he's supposed to be an insanely good coach. So they got that, but just very weird to see Jenkins fired like this.
Yeah, it was a shock yesterday when the push notifications started coming in from Twitter. I'm with Jack. 9 games before the playoffs is banana land. Unless you, like, if you're the front office of Memphis, what you're telling everyone is you had no faith. By doing this now, it's almost like they're sending the message that in order for the season to not be wasted, this had to be done. And then you read all the stuff about the offense and what the front office wanted to see. And then you have the guys pushing each other on the bench and all of that stuff, the players checking out on them. It kind of lines up and makes sense. But you have to think the mouthpieces, or I'm sorry, the media who are mouthpieces for this are probably mouthpieces for the people in the front office telling them what happened. That would be my guess. So it's not the complete story. It probably is what happened from the front office standpoint, where they're just like, we just kind of wanted to get rid of him the whole time, which why didn't you just do it from the beginning? I don't get it, because it was a message to him when you fired the entire staff. I'm glad that this didn't end up looking the way that I had seen like tidbits of it, where it was like Ja was mad at him, so they fired him. That makes me feel better, because I don't like when the coaches just become like the no one respects them guy and they just get fired.
Yeah. I mean, Taylor Jenkins is going to land somewhere this summer. He's a phenomenal head coach. It's just
what if he's a Celtics assistant?
Filtered out. No, he's not. But we'll have to see. Last NBA thing before the Rat List here is NBA Europe. Would you please explain, Sam?
Yes. So this week on Thursday, Adam Silver had big fat press conference talking about the potential of having the NBA operate a league in Europe. Now, this is not expansion. Very clear that it's not expansion. Silver said about this, it's the early days of it, so literally nothing has been agreed upon. We're still in the modeling exploratory stage. One thing I know is important is we want to honor the tradition of European sport. For those of you that really don't know that much about it, this is now not Silver, it's me talking. But like all of their soccer leagues are independent, very prideful, and have long histories, and then they have their continental competitions within that. To my understanding, the basketball is similar, where they have the Euro League itself, and then they, at least in this athletic article, it seems like they play domestic competitions at the same time. So I also pulled some stuff from here. Silver outlined what the contours of the league could look like if it comes to fruition, aside from the combination of open and closed system that will have permanent franchises and teams that can play their way in. The commissioner said he believes the games themselves would hew to European basketball, not the NBA. He anticipates 40-minute games in a FIBA-style play, so no real goaltending when the ball's on the rim, shorter games, and more of the same when it comes to the Euro League. If Silver gets approval to continue, his new European League would include a mix of rights-holding franchises and slots for teams to play their way in by performing well in their national league or FIBA's Basketball Champions League. So kind of like what I said before on the soccer side of things. Just to reiterate, it sounds like they'll be like getting team or trying to get teams to buy into this. Like the big boys like Real Madrid, Barcelona, big clubs that because they have big soccer teams, also have big basketball clubs.
Yeah.
And Silver's trying to get them to compete. It won't be like the Celtics will not play these teams like in regular season games. That's not what this is. But it is good. Like, I would like to see basketball be more of a global game. We've seen so many great international players come to the league now. Jokic, obviously, Giannis, Sabonis, Şengün, all these European dudes coming over and playing well. By getting the NBA's foot in the door over there, I think you only encourage that more. And another big thing that comes from this is Silver said that he wants to give these clubs an opportunity to have like NBA level training facilities so the players can hone their skills and like really maximize their potential. So the sound of this is it's going to make European players better than they already are, because there are good ones, and probably will help the league expand with just more players being at the level of the NBA.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool. I mean, the whole thought process of starting another league over there, having more jobs for professional basketball players, having sort of a thing that connects to the NBA, having a thing that, they could have overseas and sort of exploring those types of rules and maybe taking some of those rules and bringing them to the league. Like, anything that has more jobs for basketball, I think is a good thing. And I think this would be a cool thing to, be a part of the EuroLeague or, compete against the EuroLeague or, create more competition throughout the world. I think it's a positive thing. So I think it'd be fun. I think it's a cool thing that they're exploring. And I mean, shit, why not, right? Like, test it out, see what happens, and go from there, I guess. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But all right. Rat, let's say, what do you got for me?
Rat list. I don't know if you've seen this, Jack. Have you gone out for your steps yet today?
No, I've just been pacing inside.
Pacing inside because it's cold?
Cold, rainy, wet, gross, yeah.
So apparently it is 80 degrees in New York today.
That's funny.
For perspective, it's 41 degrees outside. I just went running. The wind was brutal. It felt like February. It did not feel the way the weather has felt here in the last week. I don't know what happened in Connecticut here, where New York is enjoying 80-degree weather, and then we're just barricaded off once it gets into New England, where we're just still in winter weather. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard of any like weather diversity in such close proximity. It's like double the fucking temperature. What is going on?
Yeah, that's weird. I have no idea.
I'm gonna
very,
Google
very
it
odd
because I'm curious about this.
I have no idea what it'd be. What do I want on rat list? I don't really have too much. I've had a pretty boring day. I do hate the weather like this though. When it's all gray, I like wake up in the morning. It doesn't feel like daytime. I just like don't want to get out of bed. It's like gross outside. It's not nice. And I was on a streak. Like, me and my roommate Ryan were playing basketball the past couple days, and then we couldn't play today because it was gross and rainy and the court's soaked.
Terrible.
It's not a fun time. So I'm not a personal fan of this weather by any means.
Rat list is looking for apartments. So me and the lady are gonna be moving in June, which means I'll have new Wi-Fi for those who care, Jack. And the thing about this is we have very different priorities when it comes to what we're looking for. When it comes to me, I'm very interested in the number on the side of the screen of how much monthly rent will cost. And she, as somebody who is getting living or what the fuck do they call it? Housing loans, because she's in med school, is just like, yeah. She's doing what I do on this show when we talk about the luxury tax. Like, not my money. That's what she's like, yeah, what do I care? I'll pay an extra $500 a month. And so we're just like, I have to keep her grounded. So I'm looking at I'm like getting all excited when it's like $1,400 a month for rent, but like the apartment looks like a dump. She's like, I don't even want to look at that. I'm like, why would you not? How can you not look when it's cheap to live there? She's like, I know what it is. It's not going to be good. It's like disappointing. We have these like apartments that like, it's clearly on the top floor. So it has like the slanted walls where it's just not. She's like, you're going to hit your head on those walls. The fuck are we doing? Or like the design looks weird. I'm like covering the section of the screen with my hands that shows the pictures. And I'm like, well, look at this. And it's just the price. So that has been a war.
Yeah. I mean, I like cheaper. Cheaper is always my go-to. I'll pick.
What's the best thing about this? She's like, we were like about to fall asleep yesterday, and she just turns to me. She goes, "What kind of aesthetic do you like?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, she was like, what do you want like the inside of like where we live to look like?" I was like, "I don't know. Can I put the game on? Like that's all I care about. Does my Xbox work? Yes. Okay, I'm good."
Yeah. I don't know. We're looking at places in Southie right now. It's fine if I have a big enough room for my bed and my desk. Cool.
Yes.
Although we found some places with like a deck to put a grill on. Kind of sick. Deck's kind of cool. We're excited to have a deck, but yeah.
So one of the things we're looking at are like there are like some apartment buildings, right? And so in the apartment buildings, sometimes they'll have a gym, which is like cool, right? It is cool to have a gym. I almost like fall into a cautious trap with that because if we no longer live with a gym where we live, will it become more difficult to go to the gym? Will it become a pain in the ass? Like I want to protect myself from future me being a lazy fuck and not going to the gym because it's not in the building anymore. Like I don't want to get too used to that. You know what I'm saying?
Why is the current place? Oh no, just
like
run it. Let it be easy. Let it be easy for a little bit. I think that's the easy play.
Okay.
100%.
Well, you see, the gym does come with a premium price.
Oh, is that so? What do you mean?
Like whatever buildings have
more expensive,
significantly more expensive.
Sure. I see. I don't know if I have anything else. I'm kind of like boring the last couple of days. I haven't really been doing much. Been hanging out. It's been a good time, but I think that's all I got for you. That's all right.
We can wrap it up there.
All right. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, tell us what you thought of Celtics Spurs, and hit the bell. We're here every single day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recaps morning after each game, and other videos are on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find Jack and I streaming pregame live for a half hour before tip-off. Come chat with the chat. Watch us lose at PrizePicks. Watch us play some GeoGuessr. It's a lot of fun. You don't want to miss it. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are up there. So if you just want the audio versions, we got you covered. Follow us. They'll go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very much. Tell your friends. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Thank you very much to everyone who emailed us today. We had 5 emails, I think, from 5 different people. So that's pretty cool. hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at JackSimoneNBA. His TikTok is at JackSimoneNBA. He's putting out good content there pretty regularly. You can follow me on Twitter at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having